Hey, happy Friday, folks. Good afternoon.
How's it going, people?
Last day of summer.
Yeah, listen,
Tomorrow's fall.
we already did a podcast or a show this week.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, we kind of like went off on Biden and other stuff. Then I was talking to Kerry for a little bit. Why am I sideways? I seem like I'm slanted, don't I? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just leaning back anyway. Okay, I feel more comfortable this way. Okay, so I was talking to Kerry, and I didn't realize, I just assumed that everybody kind of saw the connection or connected the dots. This is not conspiracy theory, by the way. What I'm going to say is just fact, okay? And how you interpret it is totally up to you, okay? I'll tell you how I interpret it.
Now listen carefully, because this does make sense.
And my interpretation, okay? Me interpreting it.
This makes sense.
You might not agree with it. It might be something totally different than you think. But this is my opinion of it, okay? Or another possible alternate theory. I don't know. Back during Obama's reign, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you remember, but
The Obama administration.
he sent $4 billion
In the middle of the night.
and a bunch of prisoners to Iran.
Right.
Okay, and
In the middle of the night.
yeah, it was all done in the middle of the night. It turns out that those. I'm going to kind of jump time frames here because I'm not going to. I don't have it in chronological order, but I'm going to jump the time frame here. Though out of those 6 prisoners that we gave, 4 of them are now running the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Yep.
Now, let's think about this a minute, okay? So first off, we gave them $4 billion and gave them
4 terrorists.
6 terrorists in reality.
6 terrorists in reality.
In Iran, okay? Somehow 4 of these terrorists
wind up in Afghanistan
at the exact same time. The odds on that are probably, I won't say astronomical, but
1,000,000 maybe.
definitely up there. Okay, definitely up there. All 4 of them would be there at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time as Joe Biden pulling out our troops. Now remember, Joe Biden was vice president during Obama's reign. So he was involved with the decision making of getting the $4 billion to Iran. Now, fast forward to Joe being in office now. There's not a general who didn't turn around and say the way it should have been done was the civilians get taken out first.
Common sense.
Then the equipment comes out.
Common sense.
And then the soldiers are last, and we leave 2,500 troops behind. And also we take, I believe, now again, I'm not really, geographically, I'm an idiot, okay? So I think it's called Bagram Airport, if I'm right. It's like the biggest, it's the best strategic airport
in Afghanistan.
And they said we should have taken that over. And believe it or not, it was offered to us, by the way. It was offered to us by the Al Taliban or whatever, Al Qaeda or whatever it is. They offered it to us, and Joe turned it down and took this little out of the way airport that literally could barely send one plane up at a time.
Yeah, it only has one. You can only take one plane.
So my point being this: the odds of these 4 terrorists being in Afghanistan at the same time,
1,000,000,
ready to take over the Taliban, because that's who's running the Taliban right now.
These 4 guys
didn't have equipment, but now has $85 billion worth of equipment, a la Joe Biden.
That was left behind.
And know how to use it. It seems really strange to me that all of these coincidences worked out.
All connecting the dots.
To be to such a degree that, it's just too much when you think about it. Okay, so they took it over, but they didn't have equipment. Oh, wait, they do have equipment. Joe left some behind. And now we
got helicopters, right?
They got a Black Hawks, right? Black Hawks. They got a Black Hawk. Maybe it is a Tomahawk. I don't know. I don't really know much about that sort of stuff. So, that's not really, something that I care about, to be honest with you. But it's either Black Hawk or Tomahawk. I think Tomahawk is the missile.
Right.
And Black Hawk is the helicopter. Yeah, if I'm right.
But now, seriously, like you said, just connect the dots.
And it just seems really strange that now, on top of that, he just gave them
$6 billion.
$6 billion.
And 4 more, or 5 more, or 6 more.
Prior 4. 4.
No, $6 billion, but the terrorists, like prisoners. He just sent them.
Oh yeah, and he also sent them over prisoners. You're right. That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
We gave up prisoners and $6 billion, and listen, God bless, we got our 5 Americans back. God bless.
Yeah,
but
The bad thing about that, now
Right.
you're saying God bless, but the bad thing about that is what we just said was,
What were they doing there?
if we have someone you want, just take someone from us,
Right.
and we'll make the trade. And I'm not saying we shouldn't make the trade, but I'm saying we shouldn't have to make the trade.
It shouldn't
And I'm
be,
going to say straight out, when Trump was in office, and I don't mean to bring this up because I hate when people do that, when people go, what about Trump? What about Trump? And we call it Trumpism, by the way. And it's when you bring up Trump to answer a question about Biden, you know, like.
Right.
And anyway, so I don't really want to do that, but I have to say this because this is a fact. When he was in
Not all
office,
facts.
he turned around to Iran, to basically the whole Middle East.
All
He said, listen, if you mess with one of our Americans, there's not going to be anything left of your area, plain and simple. So, you know,
Because there was no negotiations with
yeah,
him.
it wasn't about
You can't
negotiation.
negotiate.
It was about just doing the right thing, and that's it. I just, to me,
I mean, to get
I
our
see a
people
huge
back,
connection.
right? Get our people back without paying them. You know, is two different things.
My question is this: is there now? I know Joe Biden has 20 plus LLCs. That. What's his connection to Iran? Has anybody looked into that? I
Should
don't
be.
know. I haven't heard anything about that. But
But it makes sense.
He's doing so much for these people, and really nothing for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, he just gave Venezuelans the right to work. He gave them working papers. Okay. Now that's
And
listen.
means you know what the sad part is? Our young generation can't even get jobs here.
Yeah, that's true.
Our young kids can't even get jobs here.
But my issue is this. So you give them work papers, okay? So now the next thing they got to do is taxes, which they need Social Security for in order to build benefits and that sort of thing.
Right.
So once you have a Social Security card, you can now get a driver's license because all you need to get a driver's license is a Social Security card and an address. So you take an envelope that's mailed to you from whatever. Now you can get a driver's license. You know what you can get with a driver's license? A voter ID card.
Now you can vote.
Now you can vote.
And
You're not a
that's their-
citizen,
Right. That's
but
their,
you can vote.
That's their plan.
Now, how is it possible that a sovereign nation could allow a non-citizen to vote in its elections?
Right.
How can you positively believe, that's the better words, that they're going to have the best idea for your country? You don't think they're not your citizen? Whoever they're a citizen of, that's who their fidelity is going to go to.
Right.
That's who they feel they have a fiduciary responsibility to, not us.
That's right.
Fiduciary might be wrong because that deals more monetarily, but that's who they feel like they have, a bond with. So
Mhm.
then it's like,
Right.
listen, it's like this. If there was a boxing match going on, okay, between, I don't know, I'm just going to name two boxers, between Muhammad Ali, no, not Muhammad Ali. 'Cause-
Leonard and Duran. We'll go
no, that's too close. I need two people who are. I need a bum and I need a champion, like a Tyson and a Mitch Greenberg, Mitch Green, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay, Tyson and Mitch Green. Mitch Green was like the leader of the Crips or something like that. And he thought he could box. I guess, not that he couldn't box. He wasn't a bad boxer, but when it came to Tyson, it was no match. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, we read about it.
And that's kind of what's going on here. It's that same kind of like level, I guess. Anyway, all right. So where was I going with this now? I just lost train of my thought. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't understand why no one else has noticed the connection between Obama to now with Biden.
From Obama being president,
It just
giving
doesn't
them
make
$4
sense.
billion in the middle of the night, and release prisoners.
And then you have Kirby saying that he's sure that they're not going to use it for
A nuclear
reason. How?
He took their word.
I've got their leader turning around saying they're going to do whatever they want with the money.
Right on the United Nations. Go look it up.
It's right at the United Nations. And then to top it off,
He said it was their money. They'll do whatever they want with it.
I don't know if anybody's seen this, but Biden actually walked away from one of the
Brazilian
from a Brazilian president without shaking his hand. He literally just turned
away.
his back and walked away from the guy. The guy literally wipes his hands like.
The guy went like this, like, yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
said,
goes,
oh.
I can't believe it. He goes, shucks, type of thing. I mean, what are we doing in this country? I mean, what kind of leadership?
There is no leadership, my brother.
I'm curious, if
There is no
there's anybody
leadership.
who watches this that voted for Biden, I swear to you, I will not give you a hassle. I will not insult you. I will, I will give you the utmost respect if you put it in my comment that you have voted for Biden and that you're going to do it again. And please tell me why. Just one reason why.
That's all
First
I want
off,
to know.
if you're voting for Biden, you're actually voting for Kamala Harris because the average lifespan of the United States is like 76.
Joe
Okay,
can't.
he's beyond that already.
Yeah, Joe
He's
can't.
never going to make it. So you're actually. Oh, my cat's here. I'm sorry. You want to see my cat? Hold on. This is my cat.
So
This
actually,
is my
right.
Boogie Lou. We call him Snotty
Yeah.
lately because he's got a little runny nose.
But you're absolutely right. If you vote for Joe in 25,
You're voting for Kamala.
You're voting for Kamala because Joe can't do another. He can't even do another day.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy can't even do another day. He doesn't know where he is. He mumbled at the United Nations. We showed you that on Wednesday. But really, like my brother said, they connect the dots.
It's
They
not
should
that hard.
they should
It
look
really
into
isn't.
that because how do you give Iran $6 billion back?
And not expect that. Now, the
When
other
they
thing
say, wait, and they're chanting death to America, and they're going to wipe Israel off the map. They say
Well,
it every freaking
yeah,
day.
they do. They say it every day. But you know what's even worse than that is by giving them this, they're definitely. I mean, they also have an excessive amount of yellow cake, which is uranium grade,
okay.
which is weapons grade uranium. So they also, and they have that already. I don't know how much of it is, and they're not going to tell us. So when
Right.
our government tells you they don't have enough to do anything with, don't believe it.
Don't believe them. It's
They just want
bullshit.
you. They just want you to not worry while the bomb's coming down. Anyway, so the bad thing about this
This is an
is
evil
that
empire.
once they start working on this, once they start working on this weapon, this nuclear weapon, now
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia has to do it.
Right.
Now everybody in the Middle
Israel.
East has got to have a weapon in order to keep the balance of power, and there's going to be no stopping them. So now every government is going to have at some point
Right.
a nuclear
Nuclear
weapon.
weapon.
What do you now?
Thanks to Joe.
Now let's talk climate control. Okay, so they're worried about the Earth disintegrating in 10,000 years. Okay, which is probably going to happen whether we do anything or not because everything ages and everything crumbles. Oh, look at this! I hate this bird so much. This is my bird with the cat.
Everything ages and everything crumbles is right.
This is my bird with the cat. I don't know if you see that. The bird got smart. Anyway, what was I saying? I just lost track because
The
it's
climate.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
Everything crumbles.
they're worried about that. But what do you think? How long do you think the Earth is going to have when every government has nuclear weapons? How long before some
There'll
militant
be
group?
nothing left.
No, well, you know what? Not even at the government themselves. You're absolutely right. But not even at the government themselves would want to send a bomb up. Not even that. But you'll have some militant group. Like, I'm going to just give you an example. Someone like a David Koresh type. Hang on, let me move that for
Okay,
you.
yeah, David.
My cat wants to jump up on the thing. Go ahead.
Cult leader. in
You'll
Waco,
have
Texas.
someone like that who wants every. No, I'm sorry, not David Koresh. Jim Jones is what I meant to say.
Jim Jones. Okay.
So Jim Jones, if you don't know the story, was a cult leader, and he gave all of his people poison Kool-Aid. Okay, and they all drank the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah.
That's where that term comes from. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Right.
When they don't want you to think about what
Right.
politician or
Oh, you
something
dip it
saying.
into the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
All fucked
So
up.
that's when they want you to believe that you don't know what you're talking about. You're just following somebody blindly. That's who they're talking about.
Absolutely
Jim
right.
Jones, Reverend Jim Jones.
And he did it. Wow.
So you come up with one fringe leader who wants everybody to commit suicide. Well, the easiest way to do it is nuclear weapon.
That's
It's the
it.
easiest way.
That's it.
So now you're putting so many nuclear weapons out there. Like for them to get into the Pentagon to get control or wherever these controls are, because they're not going to tell you exactly where they are. But they have to find them first.
Yeah.
But when you get into some country like Venezuela, or you get into some country like Iraq, they're not going to hide it. They're going to put it out in the open, and all you're going to have to do is get into a palace and press a button.
That's it.
They don't have the same safeguards we do.
Nope. They don't care.
I don't know.
I mean,
Anyway.
you got a leader saying he's going to wipe out Israel off the map. I mean, and then you give him $6 billion. That's smart.
And then on his word that
Smart.
first off, you're taking the word of people who behead people, who put them in cages and set them on fire.
They just killed a young lady not too long ago because she didn't wear.
She didn't wear her burqa.
turban.
Right, her burqa. Burqa. I think
turban,
it's called.
burqa,
I think
whatever,
it's called
right.
burqa.
Right. She
Anyway.
didn't wear it, and they
Yeah.
stoned her to death. Okay, but these are normal.
And these
people.
were people who, now wait, as far as their word goes, these were people who promised that when they took it over, they weren't going to stop the education of women. They weren't going to stop women being able to drive.
Right, they're all going to abuse the women.
It's all gone.
No, it's all gone.
There's no more education for women. Women are now second-class citizens again.
Right.
You know who you thank for that? Joe Biden.
Why?
Okay, Joe Biden. That's who you thank for making women second-class citizens in the Middle East. I mean, I don't understand.
Because as soon as they got, like you said, as soon as that everything, that's when everything turned over again. They beat the women. They started, like you said, they can't drive. They have to put the burqas back on. And that one woman didn't want to do it because she enjoyed her freedom for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And she actually, she was protesting the idea that they were doing this, that
right.
they were turning back.
And they took her around the corner somewhere and stoned her to death.
But if somebody asked me what I want for Christmas, I want Joe Biden's guardian angel. Because I don't know how this guy is getting away with the shit he's getting away with, and nobody's calling him on it. Nobody's calling. You know.
Yeah, the media doesn't call out.
Do you know, honestly?
The other Democrats are not calling him out.
I'm going to take the most benign lie that he's told so far.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to take the most benign lie, the most
He's
benign.
got so many.
No, but I'm going to take the one that would mean nothing to anyone. That there's absolutely no reason
He's
to
got
be
so
saying
fucking many.
So he says that his grandfather died in the hospital 2 weeks before, right? Now, seriously, I'm not kidding about this because I know you're going to think I'm joking. Imagine if it was Trump for a minute. So Trump went and said that his grandfather died 2 weeks before he was born in the hospital, which means absolutely nothing to nobody. Has nothing to do with anything.
Right. It's just a stupid.
It's a lie. It's just that it's one of about 1,000. First off, if we're forgetting, the first time that Joe ran for president, he had to leave the race because he plagiarized the speech. Okay, so he's been lying a long, long time.
He's been lying since he was in Senate.
So imagine if Trump had made this lie. What do you think they would have done to him? Just on that lie, which means absolutely nothing. Not talking about a lie.
I'll tell you what they would have did. Impeached him.
Absolutely. Not talking about a lie like I was down at Ground Zero the next day, which is impossible because nobody
was allowed down there.
You weren't allowed down there unless you were in a hazmat suit with a big gas mask over your face.
Right.
Nobody was there.
Right.
Okay. So, but now if Donald Trump had said that would have been insurrectionist type of shit. Okay. So.
Yep.
What I'm trying to point out is
that media would have been all over it.
Who's looking out for this guy? I mean, it's okay when
it's a little fit.
It's okay when Bob Uecker. Okay, I don't know if you know who Bob Uecker is. Bob Uecker was on yeah, but what was that show he was on? Mr. Belvedere. He was on Mr. Belvedere. He was on a few different shows, and he's kind of like an older guy who's kind of dumb, kind of a dumb jock type guy, right? But he always had good philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now Bob Uecker. Okay, where was I going with this? I just lost. Oh, you can someone like him who tells a story and it's a little bit off or whatever. That's perfectly fine because he's not saying it to try to ingratiate himself to you. He's entertaining you.
He's entertaining.
Okay.
I was just gonna
This guy, when he tells you a story, it's always something to make you pity him. My house almost burnt down,
mm-hmm.
and I almost lost my cat, my car, and my wife in that order. My car, my cat, and my wife in that order.
Right.
When it was a 20-minute fire, and there's no reason you should bring it up because it'll never be as bad
Maui
as Maui. Never.
Never.
Okay? So it's always something to ingratiate himself with somebody. Right. Bob Uecker would tell a story to make you laugh. There's some guys like, oh, I drove an 18-wheeler. He drove a school bus. And I'm not even saying that's that much different, okay? So granted, it's not. But the point I'm trying to make is
different than a school bus.
The reason that he said 18-wheeler was to ingratiate himself to the auto industry or to the truckers.
The truckers, right.
Mm-hmm. This is the way he is. He's a panderer. Mm-hmm. That's all he does is pander to people in an effort to somehow make a piece of pocket change.
I mean, people, you got to watch it. You didn't see him in the last 3 years.
And I should really pull up my Facebook, okay? Because I want to show. I don't know. Maybe I can even find it. I'll see while I'm talking to you. But about a year ago, I said something, and what I said was, hang on a second. Kerry, talk a few minutes. Let me just see if I can find it for a minute.
Yeah, it's very sad, though. It really is. But, I mean, really, if you're going to...
Here we go.
My brother said before, a vote for him is a vote for Kamala. And believe me, none of them are any good. Oh, man. But no, but
okay, so let me see.
It's unbelievable.
I'm going to try to put this up. I wrote this a year ago, I just
If
want.
he was Pinocchio,
I
forget
want.
about it.
I want this to be clear that I wrote this a year ago. So I'm gonna put this up, and I just want you guys to take a second and read it. Let's see if I can get it up there. I don't know if you can even read it. Let's say.
Back it up now.
Let's see.
Yeah.
No, you can't really read it. Damn, I don't know how to do this. Okay, well, you're just going to have to trust me. This is what it says. It says, you're going to think this is a joke. Mind you, this is 1 year ago, September 22nd, 2022. Okay? You're going to think this is a joke, but I honestly believe they've got Joe coked up and on Adderall or Ritalin to make him slightly coherent. Now, isn't it amazing that there was just coke found at the White House?
I was about to
And
say,
the only one that they say knows whose it was is Joe Biden. If you look up Karine Jean-Pierre, KJP, actually says the only person who knows whose coke it was is Joe Biden. That's her exact words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, in my opinion, okay, again, this is just opinion, speculation, blah, blah, blah. Joe is as coked up as his son Hunter. Just as coked up. Okay? And has been for the entire time.
To the Senate, to the Vice President.
And now, bear in mind,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Bear in mind, he was a huge anti-drug guy, but most of the time, your anti-drug guys are your biggest drug addicts. Okay, it's just to keep you off of their trail.
Right.
But that was a year ago
track.
I said that. So I knew nothing about coke being found in the White House. I knew nothing. But I was watching him on TV, and the signs were there, man. The signs were absolutely from the up and down. From the up and down, motions.
Right. And the anger.
Yeah, the anger coming out.
And when you ask him a question, he gets angry, right?
Well, what really did it for me was that a couple of months went by, and what I noticed was they weren't letting him stay. They weren't letting him stay on stage very long. He was on for a couple of minutes, and then they would get him off really quick. They would close lids.
Well, he would fall off.
They would close the day on him, which is called putting a lid on the day. They would close that at 10 a.m., which for a coke fiend, a guy who's on coke, that's pretty right, because that's about when you're going to bed. And I'm not saying he was up all night. I'm saying that anytime he's got to do something, they hit him with this blow. On top of that, the other thing that got me was I noticed that when they had him in long stretches, if he was at a Senate meeting, he would fall asleep.
Yeah.
He would fall asleep. So, I guess they couldn't get him away to go and do a toot or something. I don't know.
Did you see last year something? He was there. Remember he was sitting
when
there
he was sitting there
Yeah, and they were talking.
The best was, are you talking about the one where he was with some leader? I can't remember which leader.
Well, that was it.
And he was reading, and he was falling asleep while he was reading.
That was that was just recently. But remember last year, he was at the summit. Remember he's sitting at the table, he's like this.
Do you realize, all kidding aside, and I really, guys,
shit.
Look this shit up, because I'm not even kidding. Trump was at the Naval Academy or something like that for graduation, and it had just rained, and he was wearing really expensive Romali shoes or something.
Oh yeah, he
like
just went
that.
to the naval, right?
Yeah, and he had leather soles on. Now, if you know anything about leather soles on metal, dude, they're you might as well be wearing ice skates, okay? Because that's or roller skates, because they just fly. So it had just rained, and he was going down this little ramp. It was a small ramp. It wasn't big. It was about maybe 14 feet long.
It was a metal.
And it was probably up about 2 feet in the air. But it's still on a down slope. And
if anybody's going down on something that's wet,
so, on the way down, he turned to the general. He said, "General, I'm going to grab your arm because it's a little slippery until we get down to the bottom." So he literally grabbed the general's arm and walked 14 steps on this ramp. When he got off the ramp, he let go of the arm. Before he got on the ramp, he wasn't holding the arm. Just during the ramp. Do you know they wanted him to take a cognitive test because they thought his brain was going because he walked slowly down this ramp? Think about that a minute.
That was
Think about that a minute. But yet Joe's fallen upstairs 3 times. Okay, he's fallen over a sandbag.
Mm-hmm.
He's bumped his head on
he didn't fall over his head, he tripped over his feet.
Right. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
He bumped his head on Air Force 2 or whatever the
jacket on.
He chased his jacket in circles for 3 minutes.
Right on the airport, yeah.
And nobody's saying nothing. They're like, "Oh, he's perfectly fine. He's perfectly fine."
Yeah, we gave him a good physical.
But Trump couldn't walk a 14-foot ramp in the rain.
That was wet, people.
That was wet.
Now, if you ever walk down a ramp that's wet, you're going like this.
I swear. You know what I'm going to do next show? I'm gonna pull up the clip of it, and I'm gonna let you hear what everybody's talking about. You get Sanjay Gupta. That guy's a fucking moron. Okay, he's a moron, Sanjay Gupta. Yeah, he's a doctor. I get all of that crap, but he's a moron because he's more worried about getting himself elated somehow into their system. That's what he's looking to do.
Yep.
And other than that, the guy's an idiot, and he will pay. He's another panderer. That is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about?
Here's another thing.
You know, and you guys hear about this guy Sam? I think his name's Sam Bettington. He was like our nuclear chief or something like that. And he was a transsexual. He was bald. He had he had like, he was wearing lipstick, and he got arrested for robbing people at the airports. Right, exactly.
He takes bags.
He was taking their bags, and then again, how stupid. He stole from a bag. He stole a bag and then wore the contents of the bag to some dinner and was taking like publicity pictures with the thing on. And the lady recognized the dress. It was a one of a kind. And the designer, I mean, not the lady who owned the dress, the designer, and knew that it was robbed from the lady and was like, "That's my dress. There's no way. I know exactly. There's only one of them." Anyway, so they just raided his home because he had been under arrest, and I guess they're looking for evidence and shit. I don't know what. I can't go into exactly what, but they said they found a treasure trove of stolen stuff. That there's no way that this guy can deny anything at this point. But this is my point. What? No one looked into this guy's background.
Nope.
They just made him nuclear chief because he was dressing as a woman. Then you got this other one with Zelensky, this transsexual that's in Ukraine. I don't know her name. Zelensky knew nothing about it. So who's paying her? Who's paying her? Supposedly,
Zelensky knew about it?
No, he didn't. He said he didn't.
He didn't.
He said, "I want her out of there." He said, "I don't want nothing to do with that." But here's the deal.
Oh, that's weird.
So she went over there. And I'm being nice because I'm being respectful because it's actually a guy that transitioned. So I'm going to use the term she, right, just to be respectful.
She went over there.
She went over there, and this is according to your CNN and all of that, to help fight for Ukraine, okay? So she went over there in the capacity of representing the United States. The United States is the one who's paying her because Zelensky knows nothing about it, and she's in charge of some crap over there. But what was the point to it? In other words,
right. What was the point?
What was the point of sending her over there when what they need is more weapons and more troops?
And all she did was put down a country.
That's all she did, really. She just, that's it. I don't know. I just don't understand what's going on.
Ukraine, something, and the taxpayers over here.
Yeah. Oh, that's who she. Yeah, that's who she. That's who her loyal. That's the order of her loyalty. The Ukraine, the Ukraine, Russia, and the taxpayers and our taxpayers, or Ukraine, America, and the taxpayers of America, something like that.
Yeah.
She's just. I got to be honest with you. She's absolutely absurd. And then the sickest.
Why would we send it?
No, but I got to be honest with you. The sickest part is if you watched it on the news, they showed her picture, okay, and the picture they showed had so many filters on it, you would have thought it was a fish tank. I'm not even kidding with you. It looked nothing like her.
Nope.
The picture on the thing looked like, who's that chick from Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Oh. Sarah Michelle Gellar. The picture on the thing looked like a heavy-set Sarah Michelle Gellar. Then when you saw her, she looked like Chris Griffin from Family Guy with a wig.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Oh shit, no one.
Yeah, no, really. Remember when he wore the wig? Yeah. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Listen, let's be honest from now on.
Get rid of that person, man.
All right? Don't try to make things better than they are. Just accept them where they are. The first say 5 months of this podcast show, I did it without a tooth. I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah,
I did it without a tooth.
We had no teeth.
And I told you I was getting an implant. It's not like I tried to keep it a secret or anything like that. That's the biggest problem we have in our society right now is vanity and elation, okay? And by that I mean we're so vain that we really don't care about anybody else anymore, and that's sad, okay? But the other thing is we want so much elation, and by that I mean we want to be elevated by people who know us A classic example is the likes on Facebook or Twitter or all this.
Yeah.
There are people who, if they don't get likes, it ruins their day. And wait, before I say that, I want to tell you something honestly. I love that you guys watch this show, and it really
yes,
does.
We appreciate it.
It really does mean a lot to me.
It does.
But not because I need you to put me above something. It's because
it just means that you're listening to us.
It means that you're hearing my ideas. Right, exactly.
And you enjoy us.
And you know,
we hope.
We're hoping, listen, we're hoping that you guys feel like you're hanging out with us.
Right, that's what it is. Like, we're here with you in the same room.
And to tell you the truth, if at some point we can somehow set up some sort of a studio, we'd welcome you guys to come in and actually hang out with us.
In the future. We're going to have a studio for this.
Yeah, we'd welcome you guys without a change, without
and then you could be our guest. Yes. You could be our guest.
I think we're pretty much done. But before we go, I just got to pull something up on here. And I want to say something. Care to talk a minute? Just let me pull this up real quick, will you?
Well, I want to bring up one thing about people, how they make accusations out there, right? And it's not good. We have to change things around. There's too many women out there making accusations, and too many men are paying a price for it. I was just watching the show last night, and it happened about a year ago. A young man from Yale was accused of an accusation of sexual harassment. Before he was found innocent, he was just found innocent. They had him guilty. They ruined his life.
That's the problem today. Is we're
took him out of his scholarship. They took him out of school. Right.
We're guilty until proven innocent.
Right. Well, look what just happened to me. As a matter of fact, my story about a month ago is still going on. I was accused of something, and look, I'm being punished still.
As long as one had, I mean, we might as well take a few more seconds, and I'll just say something else.
But it's very sad, and things have to change, and we have to. I'm going to try to change. I hope I can do something because.
In my brother's defense, I want to say something here, okay? Because what he was accused of, okay, I have to make this very clear. What he was accused of was literally looking, not saying, not touching, not invading space. So by looking, we don't even know how far away. Okay, so he could have been 20 feet away looking at her. We don't know. And listen, what I told him was, you cannot say you didn't look. So, because if he did that under oath, he'd be perjuring himself, because he has to look to find out where he's going. He had to have seen her at some point.
Right. And what you just said like that when you told me, you can't lie, right?
No, that would be perjury, man.
First thing they asked me, they go, what happened? I said, they asked me, do you look at it? I said, I look at everybody every day in the building.
And you got to realize that maybe 2,000 women walked through this building per year, over 23 years. So you're talking about 40,000 women, give or take, in and out of that building.
Never mind the ones that worked there.
Only one person had an issue with the way he looked at them. Now wait, let me just say something, okay? The problem with this is the parameter factor, and the parameter factor is this: if it's a verbal harassment, so you could say anything you want to somebody, okay? So like, let's use the woman that accused him of looking, okay, as an example. He could turn around to her and say, do you know what time it is? Do you know what date it is? Do you know what the year is? You can say that without a problem. That's not harassment. That's not verbal harassment. When he turns around and says, suck my dick, that's verbal harassment. Okay? So there's a parameter there. The parameter is when it gets to a vulgar point,
that's harassment.
That's harassment. And that's acceptable. That's totally understandable.
That's acceptable.
There is no description for sexual look. So there is nothing that you have to go by
and we went through
to judge it.
You have to be a mind reader.
So we had people turn around and say, well, what if you wink? What if you do that? Well, you might have something in your eye. They don't know that. You might have a twitch. You might have Tourette's. There's 1,000 reasons. You might have, the wind might have blown by and made you twitch your eye.
Okay, you're standing there.
Okay.
And here's another thing. You ever stop and like you're standing there and you get starry eyes, you think of something,
daydream.
And
you daydream. And they just happen to walk right in your field of view.
You know how many times I stood there and just freaking cracked up laughing because I'm thinking of something? So what does that mean? I'm laughing in your face or something or whatever? I mean.
So my point being this: if it's non-descriptive, it can't be an infraction. If you can't describe it, it can't exist as an infraction. And you cannot describe a sexual look because we all have sexual appetites that are different. So one person's sexual look, let's take you women love that movie, that thing Grey.
50
Shades of Grey. You don't think he got off on the idea of a woman being petrified, of a woman being afraid or being? Think about it. So his particular sexual look would be that of dominance. Take someone like a John Travolta, okay, which he doesn't remember he's gay and shit like that, but I'm saying like in his movies. He was more like the
Just looking.
gentle ladies
Right.
guy.
Right.
Take someone like Don Knotts. He was the cute little. Everybody's got their own sexual looks, so you could never know if someone was looking at you sexually.
No.
How many times do you think guys walked over to women and said, you know, you want to go out, because they thought they were being looked at a certain way? Okay, it's perception, and when it comes to perception, you can't define it. You cannot define, and I defy anybody that watches this, define a sexual look. Show me.
Right.
Take a picture of your sexual look. Because if you do this, that could just mean you just had something hot for lunch. You could have had some hot
dry
taco.
Lips. How about
You could have
dry
lips. He's right, absolutely. What else? Where'd you went? Well, I'm showing you my tongue. I mean, you know, it's my tongue. It's not.
Right. You can do anything you want.
Yeah, you can't just assume that
Right.
because you think you're that fucking hot that people around you have no choice but to look at you sexually.
Right, you're the only one.
Come on, man. Wake the fuck up.
And like you say, man, it's perception.
And it all comes down to perception. Listen.
But my thing is this, that people are making accusations and getting away with it after the man is pretty much ruined his life.
But I'm gonna go you one better, and I'm gonna use this 50 Shades of Grey again. And this is a comedian's joke. It's kind of an old joke at this point because those movies and books are old. But a comedian turned around once and said, you know, if he wasn't a millionaire, that would have been sexual attack. In other words, if
it was one of us.
In other words, let me put it this way. If it wasn't him that she said looked at her, if it was Brad Pitt, do you really believe she would have had a problem? Do you really believe that?
There you go. I mean, come on, people do it.
Come on.
I mean,
it's so stupid.
Right.
It's just such absurd shit.
But the sad part is people take that and
I'm
run
totally
with it.
against you being abused verbally or being touched.
Oh yeah, we don't like
or
sexual harassment.
Having somebody in your space. I get that.
No.
I get that.
Oh no,
But,
I don't even like that.
look,
People coming to my space.
We couldn't even get them to tell us how far away the look was. So in other words, what's the definition of when the look becomes effective?
Right.
No. In other words, could I be on 93rd Street, right, and she be on 92nd Street?
I see you on 92nd, right?
And she's telling me I'm sexually looking at her. There's got to be parameters. You can't just say he looked at me sexually. There's too much going on there.
Right.
Anyway, so listen, I want to say something before I go on with this.
The sad part is, real quick, is that we're suffering, and something's got to be done.
All right, listen.
And like I said, we just spoke about it. So if anybody out there knows anyone that can do some legal advice, legal help, let me know.
We don't get any sort of cash or anything like that here.
Nope.
Anything we say, we just say from the heart. So I'm going to tell you right now that there's a buddy of mine who's a really good guy. Okay, his name's Derek McShane, and he had an incident in his family where his mom wasn't doing well, and he, being a good guy he is, tried to make it so that he could stay with her as much as possible. And the only way he could do that was to let go of a job that he had for quite a while, and try to start something new so he would have some flexible time to allow what he needed to do. Anyway, so he opened up this place called Yorkville Repairs at gmail.com, and they do all sorts of repairs, like literally from demo to rebuild. Okay, I'm going to give you the number too for it. The number is 929-823-5957 or Yorkville Repairs at gmail.com. He's a real good guy. He does good work. I'd like to see him succeed. So if you guys could use him if possible, it would be really appreciated by us.
Yes.
With that, we're also going to say, obviously, if you have any cash left over at the end of the week, month, whatever, think St. Jude's, think Shriners, Wounded Warriors. Yeah, just listen.
Tunnels.
I'm going to put it this way. There's not enough help going on in this world. There's enough help, but not going to the right places.
And you have to be careful with the charities.
Yeah.
I just watched another story.
Tunnel to Towers.
Right,
Tunnel to Towers is a great one. They do, I believe it's 98.5% of the donation. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But I believe it's 98.5%
It goes to the family.
goes to the actual charity, and 1.5 goes to administration. So and that's exceptionally fair.
Yes.
But
these are your top.
Wounded
These
Warriors,
are the charities
same thing.
to do it.
Shriners.
Right.
I would say the Heart, National Heart Association, but I don't really know much about them. But the
Oh,
others I
American
know.
Cancer Society.
But my buddy Derek, please, if you can, use them as much as possible.
What is that? Anything with cancer,
Yeah.
you can donate because that's.
Well, I don't know. Like
Not all.
Did you hear about this guy that said he had cancer in order
Yes.
to play World Series
That was
poker?
it. Yep.
This.
I was just about to say that. That's the story I was just saying. He opened up a
Yeah, you tell
charity.
him.
He said he had colon cancer. He opened up a charity. People would
GoFundMe.
go for, and he had there's no colon cancer.
He wanted to play World Series of Poker,
Poker.
and it was the only way he could think of putting together the $10,000 to do it. And so,
And he did.
and
he
now,
wanted to play poker.
but his,
And he lost.
well, his answer is this: he actually does have, he has and I stress this, undiagnosed breast cancer. He ain't got no cancer. Okay, this is a bunch of bullshit.
No,
He
they
was just being a
just
con
talked
man.
about it.
He was hoping he would win, and it turned out he get knocked out in the first round.
First round.
First round. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. And anyway, so listen,
But these are the people you gotta watch out for. That's why
Yeah.
we tell you St. Jude, Shriner,
I wouldn't send you to the wrong place. First
Right.
off,
Tunnel for Towers.
I'm as
They're all
cheap as they
legit.
come. So if
They're
I'm
all
telling
legit,
you,
yes.
I checked it out.
Right.
And again, my buddy, please, if you could use a, he would appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. Terry appreciate it. We'll all appreciate it.
Well, appreciate
My
it.
dogs and cats will appreciate it.
If anybody
Anyway.
knows some legal advice,
Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and I want you to understand again that wasn't a conspiracy theory in the beginning. It was just a bunch of facts that somehow connect.
put the
That's
dots together.
And then
Look
you
it up.
take it from what you want.
All right,
take it from
look
what
it
you
up and go up to today.
will. Guys, have a great day.
Listen, enjoy your weekend. Be safe.
If I can get him to come in over the weekend, maybe we'll do one more, and we'll do something on like some sort of comedy thing.
And happy fall. Tomorrow's first day of fall.
If you want us to do it again, just put it in the comments, and we'll try to do another show for you. And we'll
Just
try to do
all-
it on something funny this time instead of all this. I got to get away from Joe Biden for a little while because
It makes you sick.
he's just killing me. He really is. Honestly, he's
It makes
just
you
twisting
sick.
me
If anybody in
inside.
their right mind with common sense, if you love your country, it makes
Yeah.
you sick.
Anyway, guys,
Enjoy
we
your
love
weekend.
you. Have a great day.
Enjoy your weekend, folks.